topic is community. Everybody wants to be in relationship, whether it's their family, friends, and co-workers. We are here wanting to be part of a spiritual community that believes what we believe or what we personally want to explore. We know that the richer experience of life happens when we are in common unity, community, with those around us. When we train ourselves to see the big picture, we have a greater experience of humanity. So last week, if you were here or on Zoom, April talked about her first experiences here in this community. And in the first few visits, she stayed firmly in the sidelines, running away right after service as fast as she could. My experience was very different. I came to the center in 2016. We had the two buildings, this one and the Church on Valor. I say we. I think I saw myself as part of the community pretty early on. I found the congregation through a website. I had just finished reading Conversations with God with Neil Donald Walsh, and I had Googled his name and Winnipeg, and the website had, if you believe in Louise Hay and Dyer and Walsh, come and join us, we believe. I was searching for a community as I was aware my marriage was going to be on a break. So I get there, and sitting in the pews are about 100 people or so. A lot of them dressed up, hair to the nines, full makeup. And at the front was two male ministers. But that's not where the connection came with me. After the service, the connection came with three women who scouted me out after service to ask me what I thought of things. Diane Matt would usually come up to me and ask me a question, listen to my answer, and then call Judy and Joanne over to further expand the discussion. So at this time I was just learning about the law of attraction. And so I would have this discussion with these three women and give my ideas about things, and then like the next week I would see it happen. And it's like, oh, this law of attraction really works. I had grown up in a Catholic community where the ones running the show were the male priests. What I didn't realize was I was talking to three board members. And these things that I suggested sort of became as ideas. So, about a month later, the more charismatic of the two ministers left, and there was quite a few women with a lot of bling that also left too shortly after him. And I just sort of thought, I was kind of sad that they were gone, the numbers were down, but I thought these are the people that are here to work, the ones that are left, that aren't here for the shininess. I also sort of felt like missing Sunday service was like an energy boost in the week that I needed. Because one of the first hook that got me was the band. And the band was playing, Henry Zachariah was rewriting the words to songs that had been earwigs in my entire life. And you know how when you're alone and you sing at the top of your lungs when you're by yourself, or not necessarily by yourself. But those were the songs that the band was singing. So, about 6 months later, I was in my first Science of Mind class, sitting there next to a woman who started about the same time I did. Not sure I'd had any conversations with her at this point, but she turned to me and said, "We're going to be best friends." I thought, wow, that's fast. Well, Vivian was right, and we've I have more than once made jokes about her from the stage.
You never gave me the chocolate cookie recipe.
Oh yeah, the first joke I ever made with her was about recipes and cookbooks. Okay, so fast forward to now, I'm a CSL board member again. This is not my first rodeo. Since August, all these months I've been on the board. This time the overall question has been, how do we increase the community? Private conversations, many different people have brought up some ideas. A couple of days ago, Vivi and I, who is also now a board member, were talking on the phone, and the topic of difficulties of expanding community came up, and we both agreed that a few years ago, we still would have looked for information on how to build community. But now, since this period of isolation, we have come through with the question, how do we get past people's walls to ask them to join our community? So my question to you is, are the metaphoric walls imaginary in my head? And if no, what do we think the barriers are? This is a real question.
You better be getting it.
Did you say parking spot?
This requires thought.
Oh, requires thought, okay.
Parking.
Close.
More parking spots.
I saw maybe a time go up.
I get 50.
I think it requires people to get out of their home and come to events. Like once here, they're hooked, but getting them in is a difficulty. It's easier to sit at home, easier to talk, and not move your feet.
Okay, so there's the comfortless of home. Mel Robertson, she's a top podcaster. She just, I think 2 weeks ago, she's moved to a new town, so she has to make new friends. But she just posted a picture of her on her blanket, and she said, it's Friday night and I need to make new friends, but anybody that would be friends with me would be home tonight. Okay, so people need to come out and be physical. Okay, so what does community mean? It's an invisible membrane that we all live inside. Community is where we play out our lives on a larger scale, both consciously and unconsciously. It is the first circle that ultimately creates our larger social structure. So the first circle is friends, then close family, then acquaintances, then community, then country, then world. Right? You know, it's all sort of, different people are in different levels. At a micro level, our individual choices that influence not only our own experience, but the character of our community. Right? We all add to the character of this community. Which unfolds when we come to the realization that through our choices of influence, we meet with the greater whole each and every day. It is this socket of power when we begin to plug in to make active decisions on how we wish to be in community, and actively welcome those who previously may have been unaware of us. This is how our diverse world becomes a living gift to us all. In December, we celebrate the full awareness of unique gifts while seeing the gifts of those around us as we enter the bigger idea of community. So one of the many ideas Ian has brought up to the board is the power of small groups. There are some things happening in small groups. Our hardest working and strongest small group is the band. Who have, shared with us their gifts and talents, and being part of the energy in this room. We have classes, special spiritual events like the, maybe it's take the time to applause, thank you. Like the Burning Bowl and the winter solstice. Winter band concert we had this fall, discussions that we have around the Science of Mind magazine, and even the town halls get to have communication that strengthens our community. So whoever's one part of our community is a vital part in creating community. The Clean and Fix Day we had last month was great for me. I got to know Bill better as he stepped up to participate. Before this, we had not really spoken more than a hello and goodbye, and now I feel connected to him. For me, he was sort of a lot like April, sitting on the edges and leaving right after service. But on my side of it, I feel like I'm doing 10 things every service, and I don't feel like I could say more than hi to a lot of people. So one of the small group ideas Ian has had is someone to show members how to use social media or public speaking, feeling that would strengthen us as a whole. So now I'm asking the group, do you have any ideas for small groups you would like to see here? Is there something you have been curious about? Other than potlucks, we know that. Any small group ideas? Jam nights. Open mics? I'm just repeating, there is an echo in the room, so, because I have the mic.
Could you not do something like an open house and then we could, I don't know, focus somehow a little bit so it's not so vague, right? Or reach out?
So a focused open house. That's an idea.
Could we not go into the meetup group and see who's got good, big groups or like the spiritual ones and say, come for us for coffee, we invite you over on Thursday evening or something? And not just go to church?
Meeting up with other spiritual groups.
Yeah, come meet us for coffee here.
On not a Sunday service day, but a different day.
If we don't have little events in house, I would say if Connie Clausen was still around, that he does her vitamins, nutrition, and smoothies, or somebody teaches us how to do protein bars, or, you know, like cherry pick specific sort of things to pull in.
So classes that are considered self-care or self-improvement?
Yes. Could we not have little workshops on hiring somebody in to say money management, or how to get out of loneliness, or mobility as you get older, right? Just can we not hire the, I went to the firefighters at an open house to talk to seniors about having emergency plans as a senior, where you going, who you notifying, what's your fire team, can we not become a ability team?
Okay, is everybody hearing Vivian? Like, do I need to repeat that? Okay, Jeff is nodding yes.
Just summarize, if you summarize it, what she can set that.
Well, we can do it at the town hall level too.
Yeah, town hall is about open communication. Basically knowledge and self-improvement.
And to put our word out that we're have stuff going on here, come check us out, because you never know what's going to be happening here.
The advertising and word out. Yeah. So CSL has a global vision group, and they have an organizational design model, and I'm going to read this vision that they have. We envision a world where the world in which we live and grow as one global family that respects and honors the interconnectedness of all life. A world where this kinship with all prospers and connects with the guidance of spiritual wisdom and experience. I like to believe that this applies to us too, our corner of the world, and I guess with the use of internet globally. So, Science of Mind calls for us to recognize wholeness, spirit itself, and express through all things. If it is here, it is to be known. If there is no separation, then the only real separateness is our ego, self-created with illusion. Science of Mind is a compassionate, practical application of seeking to see what wholeness through all experiences, including expressions of humanity itself. So, as we know, communities or movements can form overnight and around a single issue or a successful event, but for the community to last, it needs sustained interactions and continued investment. A lot of communities are like flings that don't last, and we've experienced them. This one's been well sustained. What we know is relationships are all about communication, and we can't keep our concerns to ourselves. We need to maintain an understanding that it's okay to share something, even if you are embarrassed, even if it might be hurtful, even if you don't have the exact right words. Healthy communications are the same. Communication consistently with your fellow community members, being transparent, admitting mistakes, and creating an environment of non-judgment is absolutely critical. Trust is built on communication. And April touched on this last week in her talk. So at this center, community ebbs and flows over time. There are times when everything feels perfect. There are times that will seem like struggle and doubt. Not being able to hug or even see others has tested the fabric of this community over the last couple of years. I would like to think we are a resilient community and are making it through this challenge and is on the path to becoming stronger than before. As we know, sometimes relationships are really hard, but we can make it through those hard times as your relationships become stronger. One of the communities that I'm in this season is the Power of Decision class community. And in class last week, I had an extra set of handouts, so I did the assignment. And the assignment was to come up with 7 goals. And think about the goal, sort of state the goal as not negative, but not necessarily in a positive light, like in a neutral light, what your goal is. And then state your goal as a wow factor. So like a wow has some excitement to it. Like you want wows in your life, right? So I have goals, I have like lots of goals, so I was trying to think of new ones, and I was kind of really scraping the bottom to come up with number 6 and 7. So number 6 was to be a member of a stronger community. And I got paired up with Sarah Song, and she works on Sundays, so she doesn't come, she's part of the congregation, but she just comes to class, so you may not know who I'm talking about unless you've been in class. But anyway, she's relatively new listening here. So she looks at me saying, I want stronger community, and she looks at me like, did I hear you right? I'm confused. And I said that, yes, I'm part of this community. I consider myself one of the leaders, but, and we're all leaders in this community. But I've also been in this community when there's been, there's been cycling through people that, there's people that I've left that I've loved, that have, gone on to other things and moved into new places and changed their names, and, I'd like to see some of those back. To me, that would be a stronger community. And then here shows up Stephanie, who went off to bigger and better things, and now she's back to visit, and apparently participate in town hall today, which is another community event. She did say this to me before service. So watch what you ask for. So if this community is feeling stagnant, we can ask, how can I get creative and bring back energy into this center? So maybe the one word in the sentence that's part of the barrier wall that people have is the word I. Because if I say, how can I bring the energy back, I will be expected to carry it out, and I have no time for that. So what would you suggest if the question was, what can Spirit do to bring people and energy back to the Sunday service? So do you have ideas of if Spirit is in charge of doing it?
The room is already full.
The room is already full. Oh, knowing the room is already full. Okay.
Put a little board, you stick on a board, let people write down their ideas, and those that feel like they can be supportive to help, put their names down and say, hey, I can help and support you in that vision.
Okay.
I want to resurrect the power of eight, right? So then they say, hey, yeah, I'd be willing to step up and help with the power of eight.
Okay. Asking the questions, right? Asking for help. Like having a sign on the back bulletin board when we need dish soap. So, the simple stuff, yes. So, let us know that we are in the right community. The room is full. What else do we know?
Vibrant.
We are vibrant.
Prosperous.
We are prosperous. We are a magnet for people that want to know science of mind teaching. And with that, I will say, and so it is.
So it is.